What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, back and centered with a Sultai party list. That's right, kind of rounding out the last of these party decks. So there's still one more to come, but take a look at Sultai. And here we got 4 copies of Bloodchief Search. That's nice, efficient removal. Scales really well in the late game or early game. 3 Nimble Trapfinders give us a Rogue here, 2 mana, 2/1. Can't be blocked if we've had another party member enter the battlefield. And once we have a full party, all of our creatures gain whenever they deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's pretty fantastic. 3 copies of Malakir Blood-Priest, another 2 mana, 2/1. This one a cleric. When this one enters, we have each opponent lose X and you gain X. X is the number of creatures in your party, so it's going to be at least 1, and could be up to 4, of course, so you can have maximum 44 party members. 3 Nullpriest of Oblivion, just a fantastic card here. Another cleric, 2 mana, 2/1. And of course, we can kick it in the late game to get a creature back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Tajuru Paragon is the best way to flesh out the party mechanic at the moment. It's a 2 mana 3/2, so very fantastic stats, and it's all party member types. And we can also kick it for 5 total mana and dig for a party member and put it into our hand. 2 copies of Stonework Packbeast. Since we're kind of leaning into certain creatures in specific, we want to kind of lean on the Paragon and the Packbeast to kind of help us flesh out our party mechanics. We can get as much value with our Trapfinder and our Malakir Blood-Priest and things like that. Barrin, it's a nice little option here for Wizard. It is double blue, and it is a legendary, so just 2 copies here. But we get to return any creature or planeswalker back to its owner's hand, and if any permanent is put into our hand from the battlefield this turn, we get to draw a card. So potentially if we get into a board stall, you can just, bounce a Malakir Blood-Priest back to your hand, and then recast it, especially if you probably have 5 mana at that point in the game. And you get an additional, 2, 3, 4... drainage that way. I've killed my opponents sometimes with Malakir Blood-Priest entering the battlefield, so it's pretty sweet. 1 copy of Glasspool Mimic gives us a rogue or a blue mana source. Copies any of our creatures that are already on the battlefield. All 4 copies here of Queen of Ice, kind of rounding out the wizard. She's got the 2 mana sorcery here. We can tap a creature on our opponent's side, doesn't untap, and she's a 3 mana 2/3. That whenever she deals combat damage to a creature, we tap that creature. So even if it has a vigilance, like Elder Grogroth or something like that, we can tap it down, and it won't untap during its controller's next untaps that, which is actually pretty solid. 2 copies of Murderous Rider gives us some hard removal. 2 copies of a Nighthawk Scavenger gives us another rogue, flying, death touch, lifelink. Just really solid. We have a decent amount of removal for a party deck, and yeah, it's not really too hard to get the value off of the Nighthawk Scavenger to build it up to 2, 3, 4, 5 power. 1 copy of Bala Ged Recovery gives us a land that can also be a sorcery speed. Return any card from our graveyard back to our hand. 2 copies of Broken Wings, just nice versatile removal here. Artifacts, enchantments, or creatures with flying. A couple copies of Hagra Mauling, it's a land or a instant speed kill spell. And we got 2 copies of Rankle, just one of the best rogues we can be playing here in Sultai Colors. Finally, Agadeem's Awakening, the way for us to kind of get some of our creatures back onto the battlefield in the late game. And rest of the mana base, we've got a couple islands, 3 swamp, 3 forest, 4 of the Clearwater Pathways, 3 Temple of Malady, 3 mystery, and all 4 of the Triomes, of course. And sideboard here, we got a couple copies of a Concerted Defense, where that seems like it's relevant, like maybe protect us from planeswalkers or removal. 3 Acquisitions Expert can also come in against those mid-range and control matchups. Midnight Clock for the mill strategies. Elspeth's Nightmare for other creature and rogue type decks. A couple copies of Necromentia for the linear strategies. 1 Pelakka Predation gives us some kind of proactive hand hate. Be able to look at our opponent's hand and discard a card with mana cost 3 or greater. Or we can just play it as a black mana source if we have to. A couple copies of Polukranos also works great against the mill strategies, and since a lot of our creatures, like 2/1s and things like that, Polukranos kind of gives us a different look as a 6/6 for 4. Or we can escape it and have it come back as a 12/12 basically. And finally, 1 copy of Thwart the Grave. Could be useful against the mill type strategies, but also against basically removal heavy matchups, so as we can get 2 creature cards from our graveyard straight to the battlefield. Alright, that's the list. We'll jump into some matches. Alright, we're in Stumpy 1044. Well, the hand seems okay. The Nullpriest on 2, got the removal on 3. With this land's in hand, I'll probably save the Bala Ged to maybe get something back later on. Another 2-drop. Take that. So play it next turn, get a little bit of value. Got the menace creature on board, so we can start swinging in. Okay, up against Orzhov. This is life gain. Is this clerics? This is life gain. Go ahead and run out the Blood-Priest. Let's get more creatures on board. So they need to gain life and potentially put a creature on board. Or could just have a Revitalize and make it, what is it, 2/2? Yep. Indulging Patrician, perfect. Mimic is interesting as well. Obviously want to deal with this Indulging Patrician. It's a pretty annoying card. Alright, opponent down to 13. We're at 23. They do have lots of life gain, so we can't assume we've got this. They definitely have ways to stabilize. Resolute Rider. So we might want double blue, so we can go and play this. And I think we'll go ahead and kick our Paragon here and kind of keep digging. We could Tajuru Paragon and keep digging some more. Queen of Ice is interesting though. It's kind of like that. We can Queen and yeah, we'll attack. They're tapped out. They want to trade their 4/2 for our 2/1. That's fine. They do. Okay. Because Nullpriest already gives us a cleric, so we're not too worried about losing one of our clerics. So we got some options here. We'll just go ahead and start with tapping. Let's play the Rider, I guess. Crashing for 5, and just keep pressuring their life total. And then we can, you know, Bala Ged this Malakir Blood-Priest and try to drain them out, maybe. Get 2 cards in hand. Silver Smoked Ghoul. It's the only card in the graveyard so far. Broken Wings is fantastic. I don't think we're kicking the Nullpriest, so I think I'm fine with Broken Wings. And probably just do it now, honestly. Get rid of that enchantment, since we have limited options in the main, but we do have the Broken Wings for such occasions. And yeah, fire off the Nullpriest here just as a 2. Alright, so they have a 1/1 lifelink. Do we attack here? I mean, they got the Silver Smoke that can block the Paragon. We got Menace. We're gonna keep forcing the issue. We're gonna keep their life total as low as possible, so we have the option of killing them with the reanimating the Blood-Priest. They have some decent blocks here with the Silver Smoke Ghoul. They can always get it back. They can. They have an interesting decision if they want to block just to prevent damage and then sack it to draw a card, or if they want to actually trade off for something here. We have Menace. That definitely makes their blocks a little bit more difficult. Not sure they were aware of this. Seemed like they were kind of struggling to line up the blocks. Now they're reading the Nullpriest. Okay, I think they've got it figured out. Maybe. So they leave their Chorister alive. They go ahead and trade. Put it down to 1. I think we just pass. I mean, we can just drain them out next turn with the Bala Ged Recovery, getting back the Blood-Priest. We have the Mimic if we need to as well. Yeah, you can hit me for 8. I'm not giving you life or cards. They do have 2 lifelink, but that puts them at 3, and with this board, I don't think they can really afford to attack in. So, yep. Sorcery Speed. Blood-Priest. Alright. Got there. Got him. Man, I love taking down some life gain decks. Oh yeah. So not much additional help for the enchantments out of the sideboard. Just leaning on these 2 Broken Wings. Elspeth's Nightmare seems reasonable, as does Necromentia. I guess Rankle's not as good if they've got a bunch of 2/2 flyers potentially. Scavenger's fine still, I think. So Nightmare deals with a lot of the creatures, not the troll of course, but kind of want these Necromentias as well. Barrin's okay. We're going to save Barrin just to make room for these Necromentias. We can name the Griffin, we can name Vito, we can name the Indulging Patrician, we can name Clackbridge Troll. There's a lot of reasonable targets I think we can hit with a Necromentia. And then, since we're doing a discard against a very creature-focused deck. Alright, all tap lands, but we get some scries, and we have some nice hate cards, so I'm fine with this. I think we just Temple here. Maybe find untapped. Trapfinder is okay, but I think we're going to have to play a little more conservative here in the early going. By conservative I mean just kind of removal heavy. Another tap land. We'll just fire off the Triome. I mean, we're pretty mana hungry in the early turn, so we don't necessarily want to hold up Triomes to potentially cycle them, because we do need up to like 5, even 6 mana to do multiple things. Run up the Nullpriest here. Don't necessarily need Island. Sure, why not? Not the ideal draw, but it's okay. We get the Elspeth's Nightmare on the Vito. No attacks. Okay. Well, it's definitely a good target. Or a good look at their hand next turn as well. Not sure we want another Nullpriest. Oh, just want more removal. We just kind of eliminate their threats and force them into top deck mode. I feel like we're in a pretty fantastic spot. There's a Patrician. Don't think we really care about Revitalize. Just get rid of the removal. I mean, it's annoying, but so they have 1 Patrician already on board. They have 2 lifelink, plus the Revitalize coming down. They've got mana to Patrician, and so they're going to get some value off of the Revitalize no matter what. But don't really care about that, doesn't make tokens. I think the Clackbridge Troll is just the most obnoxious thing they've got, probably. And we dealt with their first Vito. Just 1? Okay. And we'll tap it down. Could have named the Patrician so they would get a 2/2. A couple of triggers now, which is annoying, but mana situation a little awkward. We could target the anointed Crosser. I don't think it's worth it. I think I'd rather just deal with the one of these Patricians here. Slow down that value from life gain. And if they keep hitting us for 6 every turn, that's gonna be pretty rough. We'd have a lifelink on board and another one in hand, so there's that. Of course, they do have the activated ability. Didn't think about that. Not a card I'm used to really seeing all that often. Well, we will definitely fire these off. Alright, perfect. So I'll get punished for not destroying the Chorister earlier, but we're still in it, and opponent has an empty board at the moment. Resolute Rider with mana to activate Lifelink. No, just tap you down. Can't really use that lifelink if you're tapped. Don't get to untap. And this Nullpriest stabilizing us very nicely. Don't want to get the Scavenger down here pretty soon as well, though. All right, last card in hand. Nothing. Yeah, nothing. It's potentially a removal spell. Let's leave our queens back on defense. So if they have removal for one, we can at least block with the other. They do have mana to activate Indestructible. It's 3. So 2 for lifelink. Yeah, they got mana to do both here, which is pretty annoying. At least the Queen of Ice will make it so that it doesn't untap. Opponent wisely doing this before combat for some reason. So they're going to go up to 24 here. Queen of Ice put in the chill. Hagra Mauling is interesting. Let's see, 3 mana for Indestructible. It doesn't untap, so we'll swing out. I'm not sure what we do with this Hagra Mauling here. They have all this mana in the world to keep the Resolute Rider alive. I'm not sure what they're holding on to in hand. Trapfinder. Cleric, Wizard, Rogue. So we're missing Warrior, unfortunately. We're going to keep gaining life. So we're up to 23. They're down to 14. They probably attack here and go back up to 18. They keep finding lands. They just holding up a land in hand, flooding hardcore here. And this Rider is giving them a chance. We need them to not have mana left to protect their Resolute Rider. I'm not sure how we pull that off. Alright, that sucks. They gain 4, and they gotta activate and gain 4 more. Now they have 2 mana for lifelink. Okay, they just got pretty greedy there. So we do have the Wizard on board still. Obviously we can't use it, but it does count towards our party. So if we are able to flesh out our party, then we're there. Man, I want to get this Paragon online. We can do both, but we can't kick, obviously. But I think we want to kill this while they're effectively tapped out. You give it a lifelink, but you lost Indestructible, dude. You got a little greedy. I don't know why you're activating that before combat. Alright, this gives us a full party, and we'll start drawing cards, which is just as good, basically, as kicking it, right? 3 cards. Resolute, Murderous Rider, Glasspool, and Nullpriest. I think we're fine with keeping the Mimic in hand. We have Nullpriest we could have gotten back. So we just have the Queen of Ice in the graveyard. Yeah, pretty sweet. Up against HCR. I gotta go first. I'll tap lands, but they have a lot of 2-drops and some removals, so we'll give it a go. Temple Epiphany. Kind of is that build? Guess we can lead with Trapfinder, but it probably just dies to pretty much any spell they have in hand. Oh, Vodalian Arcanist. Alright. Well, if it does live, we can at least get through for a couple points of damage for sure. Queen of Ice could be good against them. We'll see what they got. We will see. Probably play a Packbeast and Bloodchief Thirst. Okay. Spellgorger is probably something we want to deal with. More so than the Arcanist. We can't do multiple things here. We'll just play Packbeast to get in for 2 Broken Wings. I don't think these are typically a Sprite Dragon situation, so we'll bottom that. So we just need to Bloodchief the Spellgorger next turn. Bone Crusher Giant. Attack for 4. It'll take a whole turn off to kill that, but the Spellgorger can get out of control. So, Bone Crusher Giant, come on down. Attack for 1. So the Arcanist just there as a 1/3 creature. It does have this activated ability, but alright, we'll just put a bunch of creatures on board. With Paragon, we'll have a full party. And I think we Paragon and tap down the Bone Crusher Giant. But we'll see. We're down to 14, so we got to be a little bit conscious of our life total. Got the Murderous Rider as well. So ideally, we would like to kick this, but okay. Just kill the Bone Crusher Giant. Take 4. It's pretty rough. Tap down there 2/2. We're going to gain 2 back. We're up to 7. They got the Riddle form potentially and the Arcanist, so that's 4. So we're going to prioritize the Murderous Rider. Okay. Wolverine with nothing of value to pump it up, make it a double strike. They return their own creature to their hand to get a couple 1/1s and activate their Riddle form. That's super super annoying, but this is what it is. Could trade the 1/1 fairies for the Nullpriest. I'm not sure it's worth it. So we're not in a good spot here. Oh, we're definitely blocking with the Rider if given the opportunity. No, just gonna kill us in the air. Or potentially starting at lethal if they have any spell to activate. So might just have to go for it. We're gonna kick here, see what we can find. Blood-Priest is pretty good if we can survive another turn. We'll just swing with the Murderous Rider here. Let's get 2 life back, see if that's enough to keep us alive for another turn. Okay, they tap out for a bunch of card drops. That's going to give them a huge advantage next turn. Swing 5 in the air, put us to 2. We already have the maximum of 4. Let's gain 2 more. You got the block with the Arcanist, but you're going to block with your Hippocamp. No idea what they're doing. We're just trying to gain some life here, give us some breathing room. Alright, we do have a bigger board than they do, so potentially we could... Okay, Boon of the Wishgiver back to hand, but you can't cast it this turn. Love how they're reading it, like, you've already played it once, dude. The Arcanist adds 1 mana? Yep. You're going to stomp my creature instead of just going face? Okay, I don't think I agree with that, but... So they're swinging 5 in the air. They could have stomped us, put us down to 1 this turn. I don't know why they keep reading their Boon of the Wishgiver. Seems pretty silly. So they've got 3 blockers. We've got 5 creatures. Don't we just have them here? 2 mana open, so maybe they have some kind of a bounce spell. Keep reading your cards like it matters right here, dude. Yeah, you can cycle. Maybe find a shock. So pretty close game. Don't think our opponent played it optimally. They definitely gave us some opportunities here. Not sure how well our deck lines up against them, but they're also kind of a little bit all over the place. Yeah, you can't block with Vertiform. You keep reading it. It's not going to make it a creature. Alright. Stolen by the Fae is pretty annoying, so it might be worth bringing in some counter magic just for that. Necromentia. I'm not sure that's worth it. I mean, they do have some creatures we can hit with the Elspeth's Nightmare, but Rankle feels pretty weak. We're going to thwart the grave, just try to see if we can get some value off of having a bunch of recursion, maybe? Expert always has a little bit higher toughness. We'll try that. Not sure how much card draw they have. I mean, they have the Boon the Wishgiver, which is really more of a cycling card, but they actually got the hard cast it there. So this card might be nice. Got the Broken Wings and deal with the Riddle form this time, so that's promising. All tap land's a little awkward, but it's alright. Playing the Secret Keeper out as a 0/4 creature. And a tap land for them, so hopefully that helps our cause a little bit. I'm fine with just Triome here. We still have 3 lands at hand. Not entirely sure what we want to scry for here. But probably just drop the Expert. That might be something worth tapping down with our Queen. And Temple here. I mean, these Scavengers could be pretty clutch against them, so we'll go ahead and keep those. Alright, so probably Scavenger, play Temple, and next turn Scavenger plus Expert. Barrin's not bad too. If we need to, we can bounce a Spellgorger and reset its counters. Okay, we're definitely going to block one of these weirds. Thanks to be Death Touch here. I'm definitely fine with making that trade. I'll opt into opt. So we're taking at least 4. We suppose it ends up being 5. We're going to gain some life though, and they're filling up their yard for our Scavenger. Could also have just a removal spell, which would be pretty devastating. But it'd have to be 1 mana removal spell. Opponent had like none of these spells last game, and now they're just going off with all the opts and anticipates. Guaranteed they attack here. And just with 1. What are you doing, dude? Well, our Scavenger is still around, so yeah, it's Barrin. Reset one of these guys. They're trying to be cheeky with a shock. Cool story. Look at well, Scavenger is also a rogue, so we get to look at 1 card. We know about the Spellgorger, of course, and 2 unknowns. We get to see 1 of their cards, probably. Just a Secret Keeper. Say no attacks. They don't go for the weird. Okay. 4th the Grave. We'll just have Barrin in the yard. Alright, let's play our Queen of Ice. Paragon is decent. Do we just want more removal here, though? Might just want some removal. Let's go and crash in. Show them that we mean business. We have a Scavenger in hand. And that Lifelink's going to be pretty handy here, but obviously they're representing pretty powerful. Board state with the Spellgorger up to 6 and the Spellweaver Wolverine having a double strike. Alright, another weird. And take 6. 2 mana open, but an unknown card in hand. I'll pass. Broken Wings. Alright, no Riddle form yet. Oh, experimental Overload, that's pretty good. What do you get back? Yeah, well, Ops and Anticipates. Oh, and that Shock, yeah. 2 Ops, Anticipate, and a Shock. They just want to anticipate. You got it. It's gonna keep swinging for 6. Do we want the Expert? Make him discard it? Alright. Well, Bloodchief Source is pretty good too. Bloodchief Source is pretty good. Alright, well, got them down to 10. Couple more counters, dig for another spell maybe. Another Spell Eater Wolverine, because why wouldn't they? Yeah, we'll block the big one. Alright, so unknown card in hand. Nullpriest is interesting as well. Alright, so Nullpriest, get back the acquisitions. Expert, or do you just want to bounce Barrin? Let's take the Expert one since they just have the 1 card in hand. Get rid of it. Oh, tap creatures, that would have been pretty bad for us. Put it down to 4. No way to deal with our flyers? Ooh, man, they made that really close. Didn't look like it on the scoreboard, but yeah, that lifelink was huge. Them not having the Riddle form or any way to deal with our flyers. They have shocks and things like that, but 3 toughness. Didn't seem like they had any ways of dealing with that, except for something like a Frost Breath, and we got pretty clutch with the Expert taking it away. Next turn, well, we had lethal on board, but even if they found some way to deal with one of these, we're going to go for the Thwart the Grave, and we could bounce and get the basically get 1 creature and then 1 of your party members back, so we can still get 2 wizards. Doesn't have to be 2 separate party members with the Thwart the Grave, so it's nice having that in hand. And we also had the insurance for if they did find a Riddle form to get that off the board, but of course they did not find it this game. Yeah, is it? I mean, it's pretty janky build, but I mean these spell Gudger words can get pretty huge. The Experimental Overload is pretty nice, sweet little spell, and the Wolverines with the double strike can be a little bit difficult to deal with, and we're over here just playing some jank ourselves, so sweet. So yeah, some pretty close matches there. So yeah, Sultai party. Let's look at the list one more time. Oh, got a card reward here. 1 with the stars, sure. Alright, so just got one more party deck coming for you guys. You're going to be looking at Teamer in that one, so that'll be rounding it up. Skipping Bant, because I've already seen some Bant lists that look pretty solid, so kind of feel like it's already been done. But if that is something you guys are interested in, let me know. I can try to put something together. Otherwise, you know, we've kind of got a pretty decent feel for a party going into some future sets. None of these lists are really like final perfect lists, but they're definitely a good starting shelf. The party theme is something you're interested in exploring and kind of playing around with, because obviously they're going to be emphasizing it in these next couple of sets, especially in Dungeons and Dragons, which is 2 sets away. But I'm assuming in Kaldheim, which is the set coming out next here in January, we'll be getting continue to get into more party support, even if it's not like cards that say party on them, you know, like our Thwart the Grave, which is, you know, party dependent. We're still going to get, you know, wizards and rogues and warriors and cleric support. So we already have some, obviously rogues have kind of taken over standard here. Clerics are a pretty decent deck. Wizards not so much, and Warriors, not so much either. They're both kind of at the bottom end of the curve, or power level, I guess. But yeah, definitely expect to get more support for them. Pretty excited to see more wizards, hopefully, in these coming sets, especially these next two sets. I'm sure we'll have some decent wizards. I mean, I think the next one's like more of a Viking themed one, but could still have some decent wizards in it, I would imagine. But yeah, Queen of Ice, definitely fun to play around with this card. It's kind of a overlooked adventure spell. You know, everyone just plays Petty Theft and things like that, which is a rogue and it does fit the party mechanic. But Queen of Ice is something a little bit different. She gives you a wizard, which is a little bit harder to flesh out in these party decks. So I do like her. There's kind of pseudo removal, and you know, just tap things down on your opponent's side, and then you can kind of get in with like your Trapfinder or things like that. Is actually pretty sweet. You get some nice versatile removal with the Broken Wings, Murderous Riders, and the Bloodchief's Thirst. And you get a little bit careful with kind of running these tap lands like the Hagra Mauling and things like that. But just keep it to a minimum. I think you can kind of pull it off. It hasn't really had too many issues. Sometimes a little bit clunky. Like, it's definitely not competitive because we have a good number of tap lands. Even with the triomes, with fixing, we still need to run like temples. Because, you know, we have like double black, we have double blue, we still want green potentially on turn 2 for the Paragon maybe. So it gets a little bit tricky sometimes, but overall I feel like this has been pretty reasonable, even if we do end up having to play a lot of tap lands in the earlier turns, which you don't necessarily want to, but, you know, we're just here trying to have some fun in the jank wars. So there you go. Not too much else to add. Sideboard could definitely be tweaked to your liking, but do like having the expert in the sideboard. Not quite sure. You could definitely put it in the main if you want, but I think main deck with a style of this, I'd rather be more aggressive here in game 1, and then games 2 and 3 we can kind of adjust accordingly. Expert is a fine card, but it's not anything like super amazing. Like if you top deck this and your opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, then it's just a 2-mana 1/2, which isn't really great, right? And Throw Out the Grave gives us a little bit more of that party synergy, but it's pretty medium, you know. Sometimes it can be pretty expensive, like 4 or 5 mana, which I think was going to be like 4 mana for us to cast it in the last game. Concerted Defense is pretty cool. 1 mana counter spell that can work. Obviously, in the super late game, doesn't work super well because your opponent might just have enough mana to, you know, play the Shadow of the Sky and have mana to pay for the Concerted Defense, and it just doesn't matter. But in the early to mid game, it's not a bad counter spell, especially for the rate. 1 mana is not bad at all. But yeah, definitely feel like the Tajuru Paragon is an all-star in these lists and probably will continue to be, both as a 2-drop and with Kicker here as well. Packbeast is just kind of a necessary evil to help you flesh out your mechanics, since, like I said, a lot of these creature types are a little bit lacking in some of their power level. But, you know, it is what it is. Helps you do that. Sometimes you might even need these activated ability for fixing when you're running these like 3-color lists. So there's been a couple times where the pay to add 1 mana main color has actually been kind of helpful. So there's that, you know. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for how you would run party decks or anything you guys want to see, let me know. Otherwise, until next time, make sure you jank with purpose.